Previously on The Burial. Monday Night Raw. I did this shocking thing this week. Quite shocking indeed. I sat down on my day off and I just watched it as a show and dared to admit to somewhat enjoying a promo on the show. And obviously, daring to talk about the storyline and how the promo, CM Punk's promo, just to be clear, if you didn't see the video, and don't worry if you didn't, no one did. Anyways, just watching a TV show as a TV show is unacceptable in the world of professional wrestling, apparently. Now, I will admit, it's been quite a while since I did a show review. So clearly, I missed something in my prolonged absence due to wage slavery. Slaving away for a hideous company I sincerely hope goes under, swiftly followed by many folks in management suffering unfortunate lawnmower-related deaths that would have absolutely nothing to do with me whatsoever. Anyways, some dickless retard who likely has consensual intercourse with his own father kindly informed me that enjoying a promo somewhat and complimenting an angle somewhat for blending some reality into it is unacceptable. Here we are, and I quote, "He was told to say this. Inexplicable gap between the end of the sentence and the full stop, or period, if you're in the US. You think he just did it off his own back? No, actually, I thought he did it through a company microphone, but anyway. He was most likely told to talk about ticket prices. Inexplicable space followed by two periods for some reason, to make him look like a good guy, and like the WWE actually listened." Right, so to look like you listened, you would actually have to listen, but anyway. Another example, by the way, of a grammatical spastic with the periods here. Laughter emoji without a joke or punchline in sight. And then, back to the actual quote, classic problem-solution tactics. And the sheep fall for it so easy. More retardation with the punctuation. Traditionally, by the way, getting worked is part of the fun for wrestling fans, a joy long stripped away from the kayfabe-busted horror show of Triple Nose and TKO with their hideous WWE Unreal Awful show. Watching a story as a story is normally the idea of a story, but no. Special needs Redditors who mistake the fecal matter in the toilet bowl for chocolate fudge brownie ice cream know better. Of course. Let us all watch it, daydreaming exclusively about which TKO board member told good old Lockport Phillip what he could and couldn't say that week. That's a better use of time. At that point, really, why are you even watching a show if it's that miserable to sit through? Which is going to be a very rich thing for me to say with this SmackDown review we're about to crack on with. This week on SmackDown, we had something not so engaging. Heel psychopath Randy Orton is always Randy Orton at his best. He really captures being a dangerous menace to society. So of course, WWE have cut him off at the knee with Shat McAfee. But first, Cody Rhodes is trying to act all tough and serious again. Ooh. And it gets better. He's opening backstage segment this week where he's itching for revenge against his WrestleMania main event opponent. WrestleMania main event involves him having a chat with Triple Nose's latest plaything, Jelly Roll. This fat, immobile piece of ex-con grifter lord, stumbling about, stinking out the joint as fans are left scratching their heads, wondering which out-of-touch old fart seriously thinks belly dolt is what the public want to see on a wrestling show, or any show for that matter. Garbage start already, terrible. And then the first in-ring segment rolls in, the most overrated wrestler in the WWE today. No, it's not Cody Rhodes, it's not CM Punk, it's not Roman Reigns, it's not Gunther. Oh no. One that actually upsets a lot of smarks out there when you dare to point it out. We are Whipwee. The music hits. This is my brutality. I've got a big clit from doing too much train. I had to cut down before I grew chest hair. Stamp that entrance ramp. Nothing screams cool like having some minor stress fractures in your shin bone, apparently. Anyways, old Rhea came out to cut the latest ChatGPT-generated promo of her lengthy run as a buzz-phrase-only parrot on the mic. Io Sky came out to continue her cack-handed war on the English language before Whipwee could get too far into looking like Marilyn Manson. On too many amphetamines when she goes for those tough guy faces, whilst telling us all something about always being on top and not losing the gold. Nick Aldis did the world a favour and speedran this segment by quickly confirming the main event tonight will be Sky versus Jade Cargreen. And the crowd goes mild. Anyways, some other events occurred on this pile of loose rectal discharge we call SmackDown. As you can see, I've really, to quote Shawn Michaels, lost my smile. Less than a week into reviewing shows again. It's over already. Bayley's music hit, so I hit fast forward like there was no tomorrow. It looked like she lost to famed midget star and homosexual husband collector Alexa Bliss. You want me to watch a Bayley match? You can pay me directly, Mark. The ad revenue is not enough to sit through one of the biggest embarrassments to WWE of all time for a channel that's just meant to be a silly hobby. No redeeming features. And I don't want to hear any comments about her disproportionately prominent derriere that I see simps often harping on about. Trick Williams in the house, actually one of the few talents on this show The Burial genuinely thinks is pretty good. He had a quick chat with old NXT pal turned rival Carmanlet Hayes while Lil Butty, some kind of mumble into the mic about boats and hoes while saying in ye repeatedly, I imagine, stood around to stink us out with more unwanted nobody celebrities cameos, but hey, at least Williams and Hayes are pretty good. And speaking of actually pretty good stars on this show, Drew McIntyre cut a decent promo on revolting tooth decay enthusiast Jacob Fatu, bringing up the slobbering Kardashian-hipped brawler's shady past as a criminal degenerate pig. While McIntyre's character has been horribly hindered by the recurring choke artist theme of his booking, he remains one of the few talents here that could have hung in any of the actually good generations of WWE programming from yesteryear. Powerhouse Hobbs finally arrived on TV properly this week, fresh off his Royal Rumble appearance. Oh, that's right, that was actually months ago! Weird and pointless absence unless he had some injury issue. Anyways, a bunch of bitter AEW mercs made some big stink about Hobbs' age or something, all because he got tired of those imaginary brass rings Tony Kant kept dangling in front of him, while pushing people half his size to look stronger than him. No one cares, any wonder Hobbs left. And he looked at least somewhat strong here in a quick squash of Berto. Gee, that's a name that's going to get you to the main event, isn't it? The fact Berto got any offense in at all as a jobber with no name value was a bit silly, but at least Hobbs powered through. Despite having a nice, impressive, modified Emerald Flosion in his arsenal, WWE are booking him to just go over with a spine buster because heaven forbid anyone have any cool or high-impact moves on these shows. Fans might actually enjoy that, and we can't have that. Shad McAfee out next, doing a mentally impaired child's cosplay of a heel from the late 90s, going straight for the cheap heat and doing a whole lot of shouting to try and sound villainous and engaging. Because yes, that's all it takes, apparently. He made a passing point about Punk's general hypocrisy as a corporate mark for WWE these days, which, while very true in reality, obviously leaves one wondering if anyone's actually meant to be a babyface anymore in storyline. In a further confusing development on this front, McAfee revealed he'd looked into cheapening the Mania ticket prices because he wanted more fans to be able to see Randy Orton, which, well, that's just a nice gesture really, isn't it? Especially since Orton is one of the more popular acts on the show right now. Many fans would like to see him live, I'm sure. I don't really see how McAfee is a heel by this logic. And oh, by the way, this was a very corporate segment. The ticket cheapening is to do with some truck company, I think, or something, sponsoring WrestleMania this year. Oh, and by the way, this was the promised big segment of the night, the big surprise many fans tuned in for, hoping some big angle was going to occur. There are no words. This sucked eggs, to quote the great Terry Funk. Anyways, unlike Punk on Monday, Cody Rhodes completely failed to deliver a similarly engaging shoot-style promo, instead throwing callbacks to old promoters most modern and younger fans would have absolutely no clue about. And shockingly, I can't believe they didn't bleep this out. Rhodes used the dreaded "Mark" slur, because according to Dave Meltzer, you see, Mark is actually on the level of a certain slur traditionally used to denigrate a certain demographic in the US and beyond. Yes, that's right. A joke term for overzealous wrestling fans is the same as an offensive slur with a deeply disturbing history rooted in slavery and discrimination. That's Meltzer logic right there. Yep. Yes, I'm sure the police will be at my door any moment now, due to me saying Mark twice. Well, 3 times, since I just said it again then. Anyways, this promo, I'm avoiding even talking about it, was garbage. Rhodes desperately tried to appeal to fans by claiming they're his family at one point before telling Shat to go home. Now, WWE is so desperate to get the largely pro-Orton fans cheering Rhodes again that old scat CRINGE promised he'd never come back to WWE if Rhodes wins at WrestleMania. What a catch-22 this is! The cool veteran as champ, or the end of the biggest embarrassment to the NFL since Deflategate. It's a tough one. Anywho, Orton turned back face out of nowhere, I really didn't see this one coming, by handing Belly Roll a beating before a clumsy brawl between the four briefly broke out. This absolutely stunk to the heavens and back. Orton vs. Rhodes has been a dream feud for many WWE fans. Since Rhodes came back in 2022, the feud got off to a fairly interesting start, with Orton first pinning Rhodes at Elimination Chamber and then going full psycho heel on his old pal shortly thereafter. Now, though, it's full-blown, late-stage WCW revolving around embarrassing, unhip, so-called celebrities and making Rhodes, the babyface champion, time and again look like a beaten-down idiot. Triple Nose, TKO, ChatGPT, whoever it is behind this booking, should be investigated for crimes against professional wrestling. Well then, oh that's right, sorry, my apologies. There were matches on this show. Kit Wilson, an actually funny comedy character for a change, wrestled Danhausen, an acquired taste, to put it politely. He really only has the job because of his behind-the-scenes romance with CM Punk, who we all know is into short, middle-aged cringe lords who behave like adolescent goofballs, if his wife is anything to go by anyway. Wilson jobbed to Jelly Dolt the other week. That's the thanks he gets for putting together a timely character that actually entertains fans and gives them a laugh week to week. And to the shock of no one, he jobbed again here. Wilson and The Miz are good examples right now of comedy actually done right in sports entertainment. They both have the chops and commitment to character needed to make goofy material work, the sincerity for kayfabe that a lot of modern talents lack. Their efforts here are helping to keep the Danhausen hype train chugging along, and this match was fine for what it was and got some laughs out of the audience. No harm in having the occasional silly joke angle in the undercard. Jacob Fatu, fresh off having his plaque-infested teeth plucked out, wrestled famed New Japan industry plant and all-round mid-player Tama Jobber. Wow, I wonder who'll win this match. This bout was purely here as a plot device to continue the Fatu vs. McIntyre angle, chugging along with the surly Scott getting involved, but failing to successfully sabotage the Samoan werewolf from thumping that man New Japan seriously thought their domestic fans would cheer as a superstar babyface. For reasons unknown to anyone with actually functioning brains. #FireGado. Fatu went to speak afterwards, some hood-rat gibberish no doubt, but McIntyre heroically interrupted, leading to a decent brawl between the pair and a heat-building segment where McIntyre handed a handcuffed Fatu a vicious beatdown. Soy Boy Zayn out next, and finally, fans are waking up to this guy's BS, this emotional cringe lord stinking professional wrestling out with his soft, sensitive feelings era crap. Very much the Genetti of him and Kevin Owens, frankly. Even with Triple Nose's obsession with relentlessly pushing him Zayn cut a wishy-washy, bleeding heart fairy of a promo, droning on about how he won't turn heel on account of that ever-dwindling fan base that used to support him. Another heroic interruption next as Trick Williams interrupted this mega dose of estrogen to remind us how real stars talk and present themselves. Williams has all the traits of a megastar by modern standards, and anything less than a clean title win at WrestleMania for him will be a mistake. He roasted Zayn's promo here and had the crowd fully behind him. Perhaps a double turn is on the horizon. Williams is a natural babyface. Zayn, meanwhile, is in dire need of a character change-up. Anywho, despite having his arm broken in kayfabe the other week, Chelsea Green's husband wrestled Williams next. Inexplicably, Whoop That Trick needed Little Puddy's help to thump Matt Can't Get Over. This match in general was just way too competitive given the difference in star power between these two. Williams won, and it says a lot about the state of this company at the moment that his victory didn't even feel like a 110% foregone conclusion before the opening bell. In the main event, I drank too much coffee this morning and desperately needed a huge wee. I didn't watch the show live, I could have paused it, but life is too short. Oh, and PSA, most important thing I'll say in this video, coffee stains teeth, so I gave them a good old clean. Unlike most of my fellow countrymen here in the UK, and by the time I came back, Jade Carbotch was trying to work like Psycho Sid. What an insult to Sid, who was awesome back in the day, while Io Sky bounced and bumped around doing all the heavy lifting. This was the main event. The main event. What a laugh! Car Green never wrestles, never defends the belt, but randomly throws in a non-title TV singles match here. The booking has stumbled into Eugene levels of dumb, without the hilarity old Eugene used to bring to the table because Nick Dinsmore was actually a very good wrestler. Whipwee took a break from insulting the audiences who put food on her and Buddy Cucky's table to scare off Car Green with a chair, before she could beat down Io Sky post-match. Now I like to often avoid hyperbole on this channel beyond some silly jokes. What I'm about to say is not an exaggeration, it's the honest truth. This was one of the worst SmackDowns I've ever watched. Especially this close to WrestleMania, good grief. And there are some really good talents here, it's not like it's all bad. Drew McIntyre and Trick Williams, those guys belong in the main event. Kit Wilson, very funny. And Io Sky worked very hard to get a passable match out of lame Cargill, but overall, what a trash heap of booking malpractice throughout. Good grief.